Coming up next on the CHGO Cubs podcast, presented by Toyota and Bet365. The Phillies tried to give one away to the Cubs. They almost won a road game that they should have lost. But did this game just come down to bunting? Bunting? CHGO Cubs therapy next. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? This is the CHGO Cubs podcast driven by Toyota. Let's go places and Bet365. Whenever the moment, it's never ordinary. Use the code CHGO365 at signup. Cubs lose 4-3 to the Phillies in Philadelphia in 11 innings. Luke Stuckmeyer, Cody Del Mendo starting the therapy session for you tonight. Sarah running the ones and twos here at the new and exciting CHGO Cubs YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a total stranger, and then hit the like button as well. We appreciate that. Hi to everybody in the live YouTube chat. I see Braggs is in here joining in tonight. I didn't see what he said, but Braggs is making comments. Hello, Gregory.
Comment. He had a positive comment, and I'm actually surprised by it.
Braggs in the stand says, these losses are rough, but the pitching and defense has been excellent for the most part. Hitting will come back, not overly worried about that. And then Braggs went back to worrying about whether or not Caleb would be protected. No, I'm kidding. That looks good, too. 4-3. Listen, the Phillies had 16 hits. I think you were out hit 16-5 in this game. You probably didn't deserve a chance to be in it. But like Braggs was saying, they did do things that allowed them to hang around in this game. Zach Wheeler was really good. We're going to talk about some of the pitching the Cubs have faced and what that means. But, Cody, I said in the open, is it possible? Is it possible this game came down to something as simple as executing bunts in a sport where I hate to see bunts? But we did say PCA third, should they bunt here? Well, and they didn't.
Right.
And then the Phillies laid down two, as if they had rolled it out with their hand, two perfect bunts.
But how do I say this? How do I say this? I don't mind the idea of bunting in these extra inning contests, but you have to first off, you have to have the decision to bunt, and then the players have to execute. There's two different things there, right? Off the top of my head, I don't know how many times Dansby Swanson has bunted in his career. Okay, so if you want to blame the fact that they didn't bunt with PCA on third and less than 2 outs, whatever. To me, they lost the game early in the game because they had plenty of opportunities to maybe do something, and then they just couldn't cash in. I think they had some bad luck go against them, too. They had an inning where they had a lot of hard contact right in the gloves. That's not an excuse. That's just a fact. But they lost the game largely in the top of the 11th, even though they scored a run finally. Yeah, they lost it because Dansby couldn't get PCA home or just hit it to the right side or something. You got less than 2 outs, a guy on third. Like you got to manufacture that run in, especially after you had already gotten the run in off the PCA double to drive in Tucker. So to me, they lost the game in the 11th. In total, they lost the game in the 11th, but they had many other chances to where they could have. They could have won this game in 9 innings because the Phillies tried to give it to them, Luke. How many times did the Phillies get thrown out on the bases tonight? How many times? There's 16 hits. What were they with freaking runners in scoring position? How many guys did they leave on base? Brutal. They looked like the 2024 Cubs. That's the what Phillies I'm saying. Did. And I guarantee you, if we called PHLY right now and talked to them about this, they would probably agree with me on that. The Phillies went 5 for 16 with RISP and left 12 on base tonight. They tried to give the Cubs the game away to the Cubs. I give them credit because they executed in the bottom of the 11th inning and they won the game. I'm not saying that that they shouldn't have won. I'm saying that they tried to give the game to the Cubs and they simply just wouldn't take it. And that's honestly what's frustrating me about this game. The Cubs, as far as pitching and defense and all that, they did that perfectly tonight, outside of the whole bunts. But like those were perfect bunts. So yeah, I don't know who I'm really.
I'm not.
We want to blame. There's always you always want to find a reason to blame someone for a loss. Like, to me, the loss is just on the offense as a whole tonight. You know, Tucker and Happ had homers. It's good to see that. But, you know, Seiya 1 for 5. And he had a moment in the game where he didn't do anything. You know,
you had three hits in the game. You had the 2 solar homers and then PCA.
Right.
That was pretty much it. I mean, I know you had more hits than that, but that was pretty much their offense.
Right. I mean, 5 hits, what can I say? Like you said, too. But it's frustrating that despite the fact that they only had 5 hits, they had some runners on base too. They had 3 walks in this game, and that doesn't sound like a ton. But in a game where you're going up against Zach Wheeler, you're not going to have a ton of opportunities. So the fact that when you had opportunities at certain points in this game and you didn't cash in, you know, to me that's one reason why they lost. But not getting that extra run in and extra innings. You're always willing to give up the guy on second base.
Yep.
And I thought they were going to lose it in the bottom of the 10th inning. And then Matt Shaw had 2 great defensive plays to send us to the 11th. But the fact that you couldn't get that extra run in the 11th is why they lost the game.
If you score 1 run with a runner at second, you've only really sort of held serve in tennis, right? If you don't score, now you're in big trouble. You really want to score at least 2 runs with that runner at second base. And the first time around, the Cubs had the opportunity, and they couldn't have it. Shaw, Happ, Tucker, right? Bing, bang, boom. And let's face it, that wasn't a good at bat for Shaw there. As much as I loved 99.999% of Matt Shaw tonight, that wasn't a good at bat. Then the next
ground ball to third base.
Ground ball to third base.
Which means that he wasn't able to move the runner.
Couldn't move the runner over one that where a sac fly might score him.
For a guy that we're seeing all the time shoot the ball to the right.
Well, he had a great base hit earlier in the game, taking it the other way. Then in the 11th, you know, PCA gets the hit and we're like, anything. And I was saying right away, steal, and didn't have time to do that. And then and the reason I wanted him to steal is because pressure's on the pitcher. You get him at third, you might get a wild pitch to score. And Dansby was, I believe, 0-4?
He was 0 for 5.
Yeah, he was 0 for. And I was like, listen, Dansby's not having a great night at the plate. Get him to third. However you can do it. Well, the wild pitch took care of it. He got him to third. And then Dansby swings at 101 miles an hour. That's
at his head.
It's at his head. I mean, there's no way you could hit it.
I'm on MLB.com right now looking at the box score. And if you go on MLB.com and look at games, box scores and stuff, and you can click on certain moments of the game. It tells you what that player did in that particular moment of the game. And then this moment, Swanson striking out. The pitch that you're talking about, Luke, that was at his head, it's not even on the screen.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's
one of the highest pitches I've seen somebody swing at.
It's not even on the screen. So, just not a great at bat for Swanson. Situational hitting. I know a lot of fans complain about situational hitting a lot, and I would say tonight especially situational hitting wasn't great, especially in that moment. I don't know if they bunt I don't mind the idea of bunting.
Yeah.
If counsel would have called for the bunt,
right.
But the player still has to execute it. And I don't remember the last time I saw Swanson bunt. So I think that I'm not blaming Craig for not trying to bunt there. Execute. Put the ball in play, dude. Put the ball in play. You can't strike out.
You can't strike out, dude. Yesterday they struck out 12 times.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a problem in yesterday's game. Today they didn't strike out as many times, but they struck out in key moments and they couldn't put the ball in play.
They struck out nine times total.
Yeah, today.
Yeah.
Right, I know. So I was going to say, all right, now one common thread before everybody panics over the offense, because everybody wanted Carson Kelly moved down, he was moved down. So we got what we wanted, and we got it faster than it used to happen last year, I think. Remember, in the last 4 days, I believe, they've faced Skubal, Flaherty, and Wheeler. Talking 3 elite pitchers. 3 elite pitchers. And I know what Kevin was saying yesterday is you've got to hit against those elite pitchers because those are you guys you're going to face in the playoffs. That's all true. But there's a reason they're elite pitchers. Yeah. Okay? And this offense, I'm not going to dog the offense in general because the offense has been anything short of spectacular so far
the
this
offense
season. Anything short of spectacular. Just right there. They're spectacular, and then there's the Cubs offense.
2 things are true. Tonight, the offense stunk.
Yes.
But the reason the Cubs are 40-26 is largely because of the offense.
It's almost all because of the offense.
Because you've been without Shota and without Steele. You've had injuries. The bullpen stunk the first half month, right? Like, the offense has carried them in a lot of ways. So I'm not saying that we can't be annoyed about the offense tonight or even just the last couple days. But to me, if you want to be mad about the offense, be mad about the situational hitting in certain spots. Seiya Suzuki deserves to go to the All-Star game. Kyle Tucker deserves to go to the All-Star game. Crow-Armstrong deserves to go to the All-Star game and win National League MVP. Michael Busch has been hot, right? Hoerner makes a strong argument to be an all-star as well. I just mentioned 5 guys. Matt Shaw has been way better since he came back up from Iowa. I'm not saying he should be an all-star. I'm just saying he's been way better. Right. He's been way better than what they had at third base.
Might be a Gold Glover.
Right? Now, catcher has been a problem since Amaya got hurt. Kelly, he walked tonight, and at least he was down the bottom portion of the lineup, right? And Swanson, we know what he is. We know what Swanson is. He was hot in May.
He's streaky.
Yes, he's a streaky hitter. And in that moment, yeah, he's got to put the ball in play, dude. Like that's just what he's got to do. And Happ, I know a lot. I've been fighting with people on Ian Happ. I feel like every single day for the last 4 years. It's one of the most annoying discourse I've ever read on the internet. Hits a homer tonight in a big moment in the 8th inning to tie the ball game. He's been hitting a lot better over the last week. Home run in Washington last week in the final game of that series. 2 home runs. Was it 2 home runs? I don't remember. Whatever. He had a good game there. Not specifically super great against the Tigers this weekend, but home run tonight. Hopefully it's the start of, just finding some consistent offense out of him moving forward too. So I just listed the entire lineup, and really there's 2 guys that you're kind of like, if you're not out on, you might have some concern. There's no one in this lineup that we should be super concerned about.
Every team has games where they don't score a lot of runs. The Cubs were lucky to be in this because they played great defense. The other team gave them opportunities and let them throw them out on the base paths a few times. But when I mentioned Skubal, Flaherty, and Wheeler in the 3 of the last 4 days, those 3 starters, while elite, like Kevin said, 19 2/3 innings, 13 hits, 2 earned runs in 19 2/3 innings, 22 strikeouts for the Cubs, 4 walks. Now, one thing you didn't see a lot of that they were doing early in the season against the good pitching, that's where we pushed back a little bit, was like, listen, you can't say, yes, they didn't do well against Skubal, Flaherty, and Wheeler, 3 elite pitchers. But early in the season, they played the toughest schedule. They played a bunch of the best pitchers, and they still had the best offense in baseball. So, yes, they have done well against good pitchers, and they haven't done well against pitchers. That's the reason they're good pitchers. But to me, the one that highlights in that thing over these last 3 games is the 2 things: 22 strikeouts, 4 walks. They're not walking as much, and they're certainly striking out more against these elite guys. Some of them are really punch-out guys, and you give them credit for that. But the Cubs were 19-5 coming off a loss going into this. Let's not all panic over back-to-back losses or losing a couple to the Tigers and then losing to the Phillies. This isn't a disaster. This is a 9-game road trip.
Yeah.
If you win 4 games on this road trip, you're feeling decent about it.
You're 3-4 on the road trip now, and you got 2 games left to hopefully go back to Wrigley Field this weekend with a 5-4 road trip, which is what I hoped for going into it. I was hopeful to win 1 game against Detroit and then get revenge against Philadelphia, because Philadelphia went to Wrigley and won that series. So you got 2 more chances. You faced Wheeler, fine. Boyd kept you in it again tonight. Deserves a lot of credit. Even though he didn't strike anyone out, but he kept you in it, worked around a lot of base runners.
I want to talk about Boyd after the commercial break here, and I also want to talk about this Cubs defense, which, despite the loss in extra innings, was super spectacular. Let us know what you think of the defense and the loss in the chat. And first, a word from our sponsors.
Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use the code CHGO365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. I love the futures market right now for the Cubs. Crow-Armstrong, top 2 in odds for NL MVP. Matt Shaw's climbing up the rankings as well. You can jump in on that on Bet365. All you got to do is when you go into Bet365, new customers get $150 in bonus bets. When you bet $5, win or lose, sign up and use the code CHGO365. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. If your bet wins or loses, you can use them on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be assessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER.
Just like your favorite team needs a home field advantage, your home needs a home field advantage, a home floor advantage, and Empire can provide that. Empire today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. We've all been to the big box store. You walk around aimlessly staring at the neon lights. They might have a flooring department, but the person helping you might have been selling toilets the day before. It's not fun. Empire today, you get clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule an installation as soon as the next day. So schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners receive a $350 discount by using the promo code CHGO. You heard me right? $350 off. All you have to do is use the promo code, our letters, CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details. All right, so the Cubs lose 4-3 in extra innings. The godfather of CHGO, Michael Collada, has chimed in saying, rah, 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 Cubs lost, but the defense was good. Godfather, come on now.
I mean,
the negativity, Godfather.
We got to sit here for an hour. We got to talk about something.
We just spent the first 15 minutes of the show saying the offense stunk. Yeah. The situational hitting
what do you
stunk.
Want me to do, dude?
Moving runners over stunk tonight. All of those things were true. And now, yes, I want to talk about the reason they were even in extra innings against the Phillies, and that was their defense. Some of the blame goes to the Phillies for being terrible on the base pass, but trying to push it a little bit. But we can go through defensive gem after defensive gem in this game.
Yeah.
And it's, listen, the offense has been great. That's the number one thing the Cubs have done well this season. Defense and base running have been 2 and 3.
Well, yeah.
And, you know, they've had just enough pitching, but defense, Kyle Tucker throws out the runner at second base. Then Matthew Boyd with an incredible pickoff, now tied for the major league lead in pickoffs. I know he threw one away later.
Yeah,
don't let the facts get in the way of a good
led
story.
to a run.
It led to a run. Then Happ throws out Castellanos. That wasn't even close. By the way, the pickoff wasn't even close either.
Yeah.
Trey Turner was just like,
I mean, this is why I said that the Cubs didn't take the game from the Phillies. The Phillies tried to give it away.
Yeah.
They were terrible on the bases tonight.
But the Cubs had to make plays to make them pay for that.
Sure, yeah.
Because last year they would have thrown the ball around on a team that was supposed to be good defensively.
I'm just, you know, if anyone wants, I'm not trying to spin zone anything here, but
me either.
If you're well, let me ask the question: who do you think feels worse right now, Phillies fans or Cubs fans?
Phillies fans, they've been playing terrible baseball, and we're lucky to win this game in extra innings, but they didn't play well.
Right? Like what? They've lost like,
and they just had Wheeler going. Right. They almost blew a game that Wheeler was terrific in.
They lost like 9 out of 11 now.
Yeah.
So I
don't have Harper.
Here's the hoping that this doesn't spark them. But I mean, they did not deserve to win the game, but the Cubs didn't take it either. So yeah, the Cubs made some nice plays defensively to keep Matt Boyd in this game. 6 innings again, 1 earned, 8 hits, 0 strikeouts. But did he even have a walk? I don't think he walked anyone.
Boyd, I don't believe had a walk.
So, yeah, he continues to be rock solid, and the defense really helped him out tonight. Tucker especially in that one inning where he threw out Sosa, I think it was. Picking off Trey Turner, too. Like, he picked off Trey Turner, who's a pretty good base runner.
I'm telling you, Trey Turner was shocked.
Yeah. So
Keller to get the double play in the 8th to get out of they left a lot of guys on base, the Phillies, and I don't know what else to say about Matt Shaw. I'm not declaring that he's going to win Rookie of the Year, and I'm not going to declare that he's going to be a great player for many years or anything because it's a small sample size. I just know all the people that were worried that he couldn't play third base at the major league level. Calm your fears.
Yeah.
He can more than play third base at the major league level.
Yeah, because if you go back to the bottom of the 10th, the Cubs didn't score in the top of the 10th, so it was a tie game still. So Phillies get that ghost runner on second base to start the bottom of the 10th. Council decides to intentionally walk Schwarber, which I believe is the right move, considering you want to set up the double play, and Schwarber is Schwarber, right? And he induces, I think it was Bohm who hit the ground ball to Shaw, and he tags third base, throws across the field to first base, perfect throw, and then to end the inning with another scoop-like play to throw a runner out at third. I didn't. It's not that I didn't think he could play third base, but I didn't think it would be this good. I think he's played really well. Last I checked, I looked last week among National League third basemen, minimum 100 innings played. He ranked 4th among National League third basemen in defensive run save. So,
and the arm is fine. I'm not worried about the arm. People were worried that there wasn't enough arm at third base. The play you're talking about in extra innings after the double play, the little short hop run.
He had a weird hop. Yeah,
he kind of snagged it and took a fly at it and got it with his glove, and he had a look on his face like he was so satisfied with this scoop and throw, like even he knew that it was a pretty sweet play. But when's the last time we didn't have a game where we said, "Wow, nice play"? Matt Shaw had a nice play at third. Mm-hmm. I feel we say it in every postgame show.
Yeah, I agree. He makes all the routine plays, and then his range is really good too. And it's just nice to feel confident about defense at third base, and the offense is coming along. It's not like watching Kyle Tucker or
Chris,
PCA.
It's not Chris Bryant's rookie season.
Yeah.
But it's the first time we felt this good defensively since Chris Bryant was playing third base. Exactly. At least in my opinion, right?
And so, are we trying to find little bits of positive things that come out of this game? Yeah, I mean, we got to sit here for an hour and talk about it. But I think if you're worried about Matt Shaw's development, man, it's been night and day. If you go back to when they went to Japan, to the moment he got sent down and then if you take that portion of games and look at since May 19th when he came back and they went to Miami, from that moment to now, it's completely different. The guy got a reset and he changed his stance a little bit. I think there's some mechanical adjustments they made. Mm-hmm. Credit to the Cubs coaching staff. And he's been a very productive player. He has been. And they need that from him. They desperately needed that, considering who they had at who they've been playing at third base before him. So, it's good to see him have success. And those defensive plays he made, it wasn't like the second inning when he did that.
Pressure.
That was a pressure situation. The 10th inning. I think that says a lot about the type of player he is, and looking forward to see more of that from him down the road because. We can sit here and make an argument. Maybe the Cubs should go get a third baseman to play platoon or something. But I don't really want to remove him from the game, or take at bats away from him. So that's a conversation to be had down the road. But
Matthew in the live YouTube chat here at the new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel says defense will keep you in the game, but won't win it for you. Offense just has to be better if they want any shot in the playoffs. And they've had the best offense in the National League. That's what I'm saying. Tonight, what you're saying is 100% true. They didn't have enough offense to win the game, period. But the only reason they were in it was because of the defense they played and the job Matthew Boyd did and Presley and some other guys that we're going to talk about as well. We have a Toyota Super Chat from our guy Steven, who's always throwing the cash at us. He says, for $5, I'm already looking forward to Swanson gone from this team whenever it is. His wife can hit better, end quote. Yeah, I know Steven doesn't like Dansby Swanson.
He's going to regret that at some point. He will regret that at some point.
We won't save it,
but thanks for the $5.
We do appreciate the $5. I have a question. Did you have any hesitation about Palencia coming out for the second inning, or was the pitch count so low that you were like, yep, 2 innings, and we've used a lot of guys already in this game?
No, I was fine with Palencia coming back out there. I don't know who I would have rather them go to. They had already used Pomerantz. They had already used Keller. They had used Presley, right?
Yep.
So, and I think Flexen pitched yesterday.
Pomerantz?
Yeah, I mentioned Pomerantz. I'm
Yeah,
trying to think who else that they didn't use that they could have used, maybe Thielbar. But like that's I think that they used the right guy in that inning. Like the guy who was going to get the most potential for most whiffs, less chaos.
Which is what you want with the guy at second.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like to me that's I don't know where Craig messed up on bullpen or anything like that. I mean, if they would have won, I would have loved to come on here and rave about Presley because his 2 strikeouts and his appearance tonight was awesome. He struck out Schwarber, and I felt like Schwarber had a great matchup against him, and he struck him out on a high fastball out of the zone. It was impressive, and then he struck out the next batter he faced after that. So one of Ryan Presley's best outings of the season in a high leverage moment too. So that's encouraging, good to see. And you need to see that from a guy like him who's been kind of, we've talked about it a lot. Sometimes you wonder if this guy can generate enough whiffs or not. He did that tonight. So, but I felt like the bullpen overall did their job.
Mark,
the last inning Palencia came in, like those 2 bunts were just like perfect.
I mean, they were rolled out there. Cam says Dansby 7 years, $177 million. Marcus says Dansby is an overpaid shortstop. He's taken a lot of the heat in this one for sure. I can't agree with you on the overpaid shortstop because then you would go through almost every shortstop. Shortstops make a lot of money. And Trey Turner's the shortstop on the other side. He had a bad play today. His batting average is better than Dansby Swanson, but he has less home runs and is not as good defensively. And he's making more money than Dansby Swanson.
And he's on a much longer contract.
So we've gone through the guys that were available, the 4 shortstops that were available.
It's like
at that period, and they've all had periods of time where they haven't been good. And if you look at it objectively and you just look at the numbers and the contract and the years and what they've done production-wise, Dansby has been the best deal of the guys. Period.
Yeah. Like that's not even like
– I'm not saying he's the best player. He's been the best deal.
Yeah. He's been more valuable overall comparatively to the other 4. I could tell you Xander Bogaerts' numbers this year, they're not great.
And I know you would want 100 in a perfect world, if we're all living in reality, which baseball contracts are not, $177 million, you would say, this guy for $177 million needs to be the best player on my team. But that's not what the Cubs are asking him to be. What you're hoping your best player on the team will be a $500 million Kyle Tucker, followed by a $400 million PCA. And then Dansby way down the line at 177. That's what you're really hoping will happen. You don't want your 177 guy who's Dansby Swanson, a great defensive player, but an average to maybe slightly above average offensive player to be your best player.
Also, if you're going to complain about Dansby Swanson making money, don't come in here and complain about how the Cubs don't spend money. So that's just my opinion. But Dansby had a bad moment in the 11th inning. He went 0 for 5. It wasn't
terrible at bat.
It wasn't a great game, right?
He did turn some of those double plays, though.
He's also been a big part of them winning this year, too.
At least we don't have to complain about the umpires. Oh, no, they did eject Counsell.
That 2 games in a row.
Everybody wants Counsell ejected. Show some fire. The Cubs are 0-2 in those games.
Yes.
He showed the fire, and the Cubs have nothing to show for the fire except for 2 losses.
I have good news to share. The Cardinals and the Brewers lost. So
Amen.
The standings didn't change at all tonight.
Amen. We're going to talk about Matthew Boyd here coming up after the break, and we're also going to talk about a possible target in free agency that would really solve some things for the Cubs. But first, we're going to take a word from our great sponsors here at CHGO. Summer is here. Is your home's air conditioning up for that challenge? Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric has been serving the area for over 50 years. Now's the time to get your air conditioning checked out, and Four Seasons experts are ready to help you with AC installation, maintenance, and repair. 2024, just last summer, hottest summer on record. The heat index reached 114 degrees at O'Hare. So you can save up to $4,000 on new comfort systems with Four Seasons, new AC units from $39 a month, new AC furnace combos, $57 a month. Call 866-4SEASONS. Your trusted local experts are Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. Hey, baseball fans, if you're thinking about upgrading your drive this season, Toyota's 2025 lineup is definitely worth a look. There's the RAV4, versatile, reliable, always ready for a little adventure. Grand Highlander, plenty of room, super comfortable, and great for families. Looking for efficiency? Corolla's got you covered. Smart, stylish, and easy on gas. And if you're looking for something tougher, of course, there's the Tacoma. The Tacoma brings serious durability, and finally the Camry, sleek and just packed with performance. Summer starts here. From adventures to weekend escapes, our versatile lineup is ready to ride with amazing deals to match. So visit your local dealer and find yours today. You could check out the full lineup at Toyota.com or stop by your local Chicagoland Toyota dealership. Toyota, let's go places. Great time to become a CHGO diehard right now. Get access to our Discord lounge, the merch discounts, the CHGO card, which is, straight cred. Go to allchgo.com for the latest information on how you can join the thousands of diehards already in our community. Be part of our family. So the Cubs lose 4-3 in 11 innings in Philadelphia. They faced some really good pitching 3 of the last 4 games. A lot of people mad at Dansby Swanson after this. A lot of people mad at the offense, which has been great so far this season. Yeah.
Can we say some? There are a few things from the offense that I did like.
That you did like today.
Yeah. Can I just mention them?
What do you got?
Kyle Tucker hit a solo homer off of Zach Wheeler.
A rocket.
So, and it was a no doubter. And then in his second bat against Wheeler, he walked. So if you want to sit in the chat and say that, this team can't hit off good pitchers, I mean, I think there's an argument that can be made that debunks that in many ways. But Tucker put together 2 really good at-bats against Wheeler tonight.
PCA hit one hard off him.
PCA hit one off him that went to dead center, 107 miles per hour off the bat. And Swanson lined out off him as well. Bush had hit one hard to right field, warning track, caught. Like, there were some hard hit balls against Wheeler. And I know results are results. But in a close game like this, and whenever you're talking about a guy like Zach Wheeler, just hitting the ball with authority is a win in many ways, okay? So all I'm saying is the offense needs to be better. Situational hitting needs to be better. But they did have some hard hits against Zach Wheeler tonight. And I wanted to point out Tucker's home run specifically and PCA hitting that one to dead center. If he would have hit it to right or left, that ball's out of here. He hit it nearly 400 feet. So, that is what it is. I don't know.
Ian Happ hit that clutch home run.
Yeah, that wasn't off Zach Wheeler, but it was a clutch home run. Yes, in the 8th inning. Good to see. I already mentioned Happ earlier in the show. Like, good to see him put that at bat. And he, in his at bat beforehand against Wheeler, didn't end up getting anything out of it, but he worked a count and fouled off a bunch of pitches. And I'd rather see that than someone going up there and swinging and being out, like not having a competitive at bat and striking out on 3 or 4 pitches. You don't like what I have to say about it, I really don't care. But like there is some good that comes out of it that came out of the offense tonight. Just didn't get the results. This offense has been the best offense in baseball all season. I'm not sitting here making some declaration that this offense is dead on June 9th or whatever day it is. So they would like to see them bounce back. And just 2 days ago, they did hit 5 homers against the Tigers. So I would like to see better off. I would like to see better at bats, more walks, Not as many strikeouts, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you on that. I think that I can meet everyone halfway on that. Too many strikeouts, not enough walks of late. But to say that this offense is not good now all of a sudden, I just don't agree with that at all.
And even to say, I know I mentioned the three really good starters in the last 4 games and how 22 strikeouts, 4 walks, but Tyler's also right. They had 8 hits against Skubal. It's not like they didn't hit him.
Yeah.
They had 8 hits against the guy.
We talked about that yesterday when we were talking about that game.
So there's been some offense in other places. I'm not going to place blame on the Cubs offense for back-to-back losses.
No.
I mean, is it the fault? That's the reason they lost? Yes. But am I worried about the offense? No, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not. I think they made the right move in moving Carson Kelly down in the lineup, and we're fine with that. And otherwise, I look forward to Tucker going on a tear soon, and it looks like he's back in his spot. I want it before we get to Matthew Boyd. You mentioned Presley earlier. We've been awfully worried about the swing and miss, the lack of swing and miss about Presley. When he was removed from the closer role, everybody was like, he's washed. He can't miss bats anymore. There's no swing and miss anymore. He seems to have solved that a little bit. He's remedied a little. He may not be a strikeout king, but he's 2 strikeouts in his inning today.
Well, and that was a big moment.
Huge moment.
They had a runner on base. With
Another
Kyle Schwarber
reason
at the
that they were only in the game was because he came in and he did his job.
Right.
And the defense did too.
Yeah. Like it's not his fault that they lost tonight. That's for sure. I'm not going to sit here and say that we should put him back in the closer role, but I am saying that he's settled in that, 6th, 7th, 8th inning role. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think that's where he is. He's been fine in those middle to late innings. He's gone out there in high leverage. He's gone out there when the Cubs have a 4 or 5 run lead as well and had success. So, again, I know that I wasn't the only one who thought Kyle Schwarber was going to hit one to the moon off him.
I did.
I know I'm not the only one who thought that was going to happen.
I couldn't even look.
I give Presley a lot of credit to get those 2 strikeouts the way that he did. So hopefully it's a sign of more good things to come from him.
Yes, Tyler, the Dodgers recently 1 for 28 with runners in scoring position going into the St. Louis series. It happens to every team. Of course it does.
I agree with that.
Of course it does. The Cubs are still on the road scoring like 7 runs a game.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I think it was first segment, you're 3-4 on the road trip now. You need to find a way to win the next 2 to not only win the series, but a 5-4 road trip you feel better about going back home.
Feel great about a 5-4 road trip.
If you don't win this series and you go and you find a way to win one of the next 2, you go back 4-5. It's like fine, but you'd like to have a winning road trip. To win 2 of the 3 series on the road would be a good feeling with the Pirates coming to Wrigley this weekend.
I know this is a therapy session, and the Cubs lost in extra innings, and they got bunted to death in extra innings.
I do not
death
blame
by 1,000
anyone.
paper cuts or 2 bunts. Take your pick.
I do not blame anyone for being pissed off and saying some irrational stuff tonight. I really don't.
Cub how you want to cub.
This is probably one of the more frustrating losses of the year. I think that I showed more emotion on the couch tonight than I've had, at least in a loss, than I've had all season. Because a lot of the losses that we've done post games for, it's like, okay, well, you won the first game of the series, win the series tomorrow, or maybe you won the first 2 games of the series and you just didn't sweep, right? Like the Cubs have in many ways made this ride to this point very fun and easy. And even when they lose games, you don't come out of it feeling like you just went through war for 6 months, right?
Yeah.
And I felt like every loss last year, it's like the Cubs would take a knife, stab you, and then twist it 1,000 times. And then they would do it again the next night. And I don't feel like I've felt like that after every loss that the Cubs have had this year. So this is the one tonight where I'm like, it's up there. This one and the one on Friday against the Tigers. If we would have had postgame for the Friday game against the Tigers, there would have been a lot more. I feel like that one hurts more than this one tonight, just because I feel like they had every chance to win that game too, and the Tigers defense was just really good in that one. This one, is agonizing because you just felt like the Phillies wanted you to take the game.
Yeah.
They wanted you to win the game. They were like, we stinks, take the game.
This game was the carrot hanging in front of the rabbit.
Yeah.
And they kept pulling the carrot up every time the rabbit went to go get it with a great play. Like they'd throw somebody out on the base patch and be like, oh, they're going to get the carrot. But then they couldn't do it. Yeah. Matthew Boyd, okay, I know that he gave up 2 runs, 1 earned. The other run was one that a soft hit, and he also threw the ball away, which was his own fault. Right. 6 innings, 1 earned run, 8 hits, 0 strikeouts. He did have 2 walks. It was his 9th quality start. Now, I sat here in the offseason and I said, fine, a decent signing. It could be a decent signing, right? I did.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm just saying that can't be your only signing to the rotation. Mm-hmm. And part of that has actually played out true because we've seen that injuries are a thing. We've had Shota injured. We have Steele out for the season and having surgery. But 9 quality starts. What this guy has done early in his Cubs career has turned me into a big Matthew Boyd fan. 9 quality starts. That ties him with Tyone, Robbie Ray, and Mitch Keller. Who has more quality starts in the National League than Matthew Boyd?
Chris Sale. No.
There are only 4 pitchers in the National League with more quality starts than Matthew Boyd.
Jamison Tyone?
Skeens, 11. Logan Webb, 10. Schwellenbach, 10. Zach Wheeler after today, 10. That's it. Oh. And it's only 3 of the guys only have 1 more. Matthew Boyd has 9 quality starts. Who does Matthew Boyd name some pitchers that Matthew Boyd has more quality starts than this year? This list is unbelievable. I'm just floating through it today while the game's going. I'm like, wow, that's 9 quality starts. That's pretty good. And I know it's not the stat of all stats. It's the WAR, or whatever you want to call it.
No.
It's a pretty good stat. You're keeping your team in it.
Don't say that it's not a stat that matters. Quality starts matters.
More than wins.
Anyone who says quality starts are hot garbage needs to be called out.
Does it count as much as maybe ERA in your mind? I don't know. You got to combine all the stats to get it.
Quality starts is 6 innings, 3 earns or less. That's
right.
That is
whether it's luck or not luck that day.
Right. That is a guy giving you a chance to win. Yes.
Which is all you want. Okay.
Quality starts.
So we agree. It's a legit stat.
That's a legit stat more so than wins and losses for pitchers.
So only 4 guys in the National League have done it more often than he has this season.
Yeah. That's a sign. All that does for me is tells me that he is given the Cubs a chance to win every 5th day that he's out there.
No, Godfather. Boyd, number 1 starter. Thank you, Ricketts. Listen to what I'm saying. He has done his job. Forget what he's making. Forget Ricketts for a second. Look at the guy they signed and the way he's performing for your team this year. Matthew Boyd, I'm not saying is an ace, but what he has done is greatly exceed projections of almost all of us, like a lot of guys on the team. He has more quality starts than Skubal. He's got more quality starts than Crochet. He's got more quality starts than Rodon. He's got more quality starts than Chris Sale. He's got more quality starts than Jacob deGrom. He's got more quality starts than Jack Flaherty. He's got more quality starts than Hunter Green. He's got more quality starts than Dylan Cease. And he's got more quality starts than Zach Gallen. Holy crap. He's been good.
Yeah.
He's quietly been very, very good with your top 2 starters out. I'm talking about the number 3, maybe number 4 starter on your team. And only 4 guys in the National League have had more quality starts.
Yeah.
I just listed a who's who of pitching.
I am surprised that Skubal doesn't have more quality starts. Of that list,
I believe he's like 1 behind. Skubal's there. Let me look. I had the list. See if I can find it.
That one surprises me.
I'll find it after the commercial break.
A lot of those guys, though, they're big strikeout pitchers, and sometimes, if you work at bats, you can get a guy's pitch count up. So maybe they only go 5 innings instead of 6.
Skubal has 8.
So
Skubal has 8. He has 9. All right, we're going to talk about another arm though that they could add that would make Matthew Boyd look even better. It's coming up next, but first, a word from our sponsors.
Game Time makes scoring MLB tickets faster and easier with exclusive discounts. You'll find great seats for as low as $50, $25, sometimes even less than $10, given a certain day of the week, Luke.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Great
I
deal.
love Game Time. I always talk about how I get on the red line at Argyle and get off at Addison and bring this app up because the longer you wait, the better until first pitch. All right. They have a lot of different things in the app that make this a great feature, right? You can save up to 60% off buying last minute tickets for sports, comedy, theater, and more. They have zone deals in the app where you save more when you let Game Time choose the section that you want to sit in. They have all-in pricing. Toggling that feature shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. They have seat views where you get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy, and they have the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. They have the Game Time ticket coverage as well, where you're covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem with code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Mando Whole Body Deodorant. Instant confidence. You can use it anywhere on your body. It comes in bourbon leather, Clover Woods, Mount Fuji, or Pro Sport. Clinically proven to control odor better than a shower with soap alone. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. Comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like the mini body wash or deodorant wipes, and free shipping. Special offer for our listeners. $5 off that starter pack with our exclusive code equates to 40% off your starter pack. Use the code CHGO at shopmando.com. That's SHOPMANDO.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you because you want to smell better. Cubs lose 4-3. Now the live YouTube chat here at CHGO Cubs is fighting about Matthew Boyd. Bobby Blanco says, Godfather, Steele and Imanaga are out. Tyone and then the number 4, LOL. Because Godfather was saying he should be your number 4 starter. Well, that's the way it was designed early on. Justin earlier was talking about how good Boyd shoved last year. I'm not surprised if he can remain healthy. Is always the issue. If Boyd's healthy, he's a top 30 pitcher in baseball, no doubt. Now, remember, Tyone is doing the same thing as Boyd is. Mm-hmm. So the guys that are supposed to be your 3 and 4, we talk about the offense a lot, but it's injuries that have depleted the rotation big time. Not that I don't think they could use a front of the line guy that we're going to talk about in a second, but your 3 and 4 starters, again, both of them have more quality starts than Skubal, Crochet, Rodon, Sale, DeGrom, Flaherty, Hunter Green, Dylan Cease, and Zach Gallen. That's pretty darn good out of your 3 and 4.
And they've been healthy. Like you mentioned Hunter Green, like he's had some injury problems.
Sure, but that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Would Steele be on this list or Shota be on this list? Very possibly if they had been healthy. They might have more than that. But Skubal's been around.
The 2 things that I will always defend Jameson Tyone for, and I guess now Matthew Boyd, this is year 1 of Matthew Boyd, and as the season goes along and whatever he does next year, I'll probably be doing the same thing. Like the 2 have shown that they can eat innings for you. Like they just find a way. You know, they'll have Boyd, the last start he had that was like, I guess you could say bad, was when they went to Cincinnati. That was the game he pitches, the one that PCA hit the grand slam in.
Yeah.
Like he 4 innings in that game?
Yeah. That's his dud.
He didn't but he didn't even it's not like he gave up 8 earned runs.
Right.
You know, he just had a terrible first inning, gave up 4 runs, and then, you know, his pitch count was high. He was only able to go 4. So I don't even think he's really had much of a dud. It's just, if he doesn't have it, it's more of like he just kind of grinds and finds a way to keep you in the game. That's largely what it's been. Tyone, I think in Arizona, his first start of the year was bad. There's been a few starts where I think he's given up too many homers, but he's still been keeping you in the game, right? His last start was awesome in Detroit. So, but above all, both of them have just been able to eat innings. So whenever you're talking about quality starts, them being able to go 6+ on a regular basis is huge, especially right now with Shota on the shelf and Steele out for the year. And so when you think about how this team can get better before the deadline and going into August and September, If you got those two guys giving you this same type of production, you got a healthy Shota Imanaga back, and then you go add some starting pitcher. Mm-hmm. I want Chris Sale to go with those three on top of the possibilities of what Ben Brown and Cade Horton can continue to give you. There's a lot of upside with that group of pitchers.
Did you mention Chris Sale?
Yes, I mentioned Chris
James
Sale.
says Boyd actually deserves the CHGO glazing. You're darn right he does. He's been nothing short of amazing. As Jed would say, he exceeds all projections.
But James also has a bingo card that says when you mention projections.
Well, I would assume that James realizes I'm doing it because it's the most ridiculous thing the Cubs front office has said in a long time.
I'm not sure he realizes it personally.
Okay, well,
if he has a bingo card.
Yeah, I'm mocking the front office when I say exceed projections. In case we're not clear on that, when I say exceed projections or that the wind was blowing in on the offense, I am mocking the front office.
Get those giant fans, put them on top of the press box.
If we could just get some ceiling fans to blow out in the upper deck. Chris Sale pitched today, by the way, even though I mentioned he has less quality starts than both Tyone and Boyd. 7 innings tonight, 1 hit, 11 strikeouts. That sounds great. Defending Cy Young winner, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm sort of coming around to this. Not the fact that you would want Chris Sale. Of course you would want Chris Sale. Mm-hmm. The guy's a Hall of Fame pitcher. He's that good. Like he has the stuff of a Hall of Fame pitcher. I don't know if he'll end up having a Hall of Fame career, whatever. That's up to weird voters usually.
The BBWA.
Yeah, the Geek Squad, as I like to call him. That's up to the Geek Squad. I can't deal with that. But he has the stuff of a Hall of Fame pitcher. Yeah. And yeah, he likes to cut the sleeves off of his teammates' jerseys. But I would take him in that Cubs clubhouse. Let me tell you. For the rest of this season, I would love him if you could have him beyond that. Like, listen, you're not going to have Steele next year either for at least half the season. Mm-hmm. But all I'm focused on is this year. Would Sale make you a legit team in the postseason? Even against the Dodgers and the Padres and all these other teams, some of us, including me, feared at the beginning of the season. Sale, Shota, and then you're going with either Tyone or Boyd as a starter in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And I don't, maybe they save Alcantara in a trade too and he comes back, whatever. I'm just saying, yes, Chris Sale would completely change the look of the team. And when Cap said it, I thought it was one of the most ridiculous things I'd ever heard because I said, well, why would the Braves I know they're not going to, a team that got off to the start that they got off to never makes the postseason. Mm-hmm. And they started to make a little bit of a rally. And I said, well, why would they just give up? Next year, they're going to be a contending team again. They can't just sell off a bunch of guys and then have to try and recoup everybody in the offseason. That seems ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But they are 14 games out in the division, and they are 9.5 games out in the wild card. Mm-hmm. It's not unthinkable now to say, wow, if they drop 3 or 4 more games on each side of that before the trade deadline, mm-hmm. they would clearly realize that they have to be a seller. Now, whether they'd have to be a seller to the degree of getting rid of Chris Sale, I don't know, but it sure would be a way to restock and reload big time potentially for your future. Chris Sale would change this Cubs team.
Yeah.
Is he your number 1 on your wish list now?
Yes, he is number 1 on my wish list.
Whether it's unrealistic or not, if you had one pitcher, you could say,
the dream.
Okay, this guy, at least there's a 30% chance he might get traded at the deadline.
Sure. Yeah, he's kind of the dream for me. I think Nathan Eovaldi is also part of my dream.
I like that too. Chris Sale in the playoffs.
We've kind of talked about Jacob deGrom, but he's owed a lot of money, and you know how the health factor with him.
Chris Sale's so different than anybody they have in the rotation.
Well, Sale has had injury problems too.
Oh, yeah.
And he's 36. It's not that much different from deGrom, except that deGrom's on a much bigger contract. I have to look his contract up. But the point is that for me, Chris Sale, 36 years old, NL Cy Young last year, career kind of revived after he went to Atlanta because he won the World Series with the Red Sox in 2018. And then the injury started to pile on after that.
Looked like it was over.
He had an embarrassing moment at the Red Sox's minor league affiliate, I believe it was. He came back.
Forgot about that.
He somehow managed to come back and then hurt himself in his first start back. I think that same season, maybe it was the year after. He had a lot of injury problems in a big part of his tenure with the Red Sox that included him being a key part of them winning the World Series in 2018. He gets traded to the Braves and career revived, and largely because he's healthy.
Yeah.
36 years old again. And that's what brings me to like the idea that, yeah, I think you're going to have to send a quote unquote haul, but I don't think it's like I don't think it's like even remotely the same as if you would have traded for Verlander instead of Quintana. You know what I mean? I think you're going to have to give away a top 10 prospect in your system, or at least maybe even a top 100 if they want. I don't know which one that I would want to keep or who I would take not give away for him. And because the only thing that holds me back on him is the fact that he's 36. And we know how these pitchers are, right?
I think you'd have to give up more than you'd give up for DeGrom because of DeGrom's contract.
Yeah. And Sales owed like $38 million over like this year, and then the next year is a team option. So the Cubs could decline it if they wanted to. I don't know why they would decline $18 million to Chris Sale, especially if he helps them have success in the playoffs and is good for them, right? But he's making like $22 million this year, you know? So
I wouldn't complain about DeGrom either, Tyler.
Right. So I'm not gonna throw out some like theoretical trade. All I'm saying is it's a lot different than if you're trading for Paul Skeens or Mason Miller compared to trading for Chris Sale.
But not necessarily for this season. If you're just focusing on this season and you're going all in on this year, it's very similar, right? Like, don't get me wrong, Skeens is...
Dude,
Skeens, you would have to give up everything. I'm just saying about having a pitcher on the mound in a playoff game.
Yeah, that's
Chris Sale's as good as they get. Yeah, are all those other guys good? Yes. Chris Sale?
That's not the point I'm trying to make. Like, yeah, I agree. Like, Chris Sale...
About what you'd have to give up, yes.
What I'm talking about is a trade package. I don't think it's the same as if you were trying to trade for Paul Skeens or Mason
not even
Miller.
Close.
You know what I mean? Like,
Agreed.
those are young, controllable arms who are cheap. You know what I mean? Sale, 36, and even though the contract is friendly, still 36. And he has in the injury history too. So I'm not saying you're not going to have to give away anything, but I also don't feel like you're giving up, 3-4 top 10 prospects in the system. Like, I think maybe one or two tops. Maybe it's one with like a couple mid-tier ones in the top 20. You know what I mean? Something like that. The Cubs have the prospect capital to do something like this, man. Like, there's a reason that I'm advocating for, because they have the prospect capital to do it. And then and then they continue to draft the way that they have these last couple of years, like, they'll replenish. Like, I don't know. That's just how I feel.
agree with the chat. Sale, DeGrom, Gausman, Eovaldi. Yes,
Gausman
yes,
makes sense
yes,
too.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, try any of those. And for those that think, well, Sale might not be the right fit in this clubhouse because he's had a little bit of a rocky road occasionally as a teammate, cutting the sleeves off, the thing in the minor leagues, yada, yada, yada. I would just say winning solves almost everything when you're winning. And let me remind you that Aroldis Chapman was not the most perfect addition to a clubhouse either, but it ended up winning a World Series.
Chris Sale brings a mentality that this team doesn't have, in my opinion. That a guy that kind of like what John Lester was. Like, do they have a guy with that kind of mentality outside of what I guess Justin Steele, but like nothing like that in the playoffs because he's never been there. You know what I mean? Like, he has this like, I just want to call it bulldog or dog mentality, but like, he just has this I don't care.
Sale game 1, Shota game 2,
you know
Boyd game 3.
Just all lefties.
Yes. I'm willing to do it.
Yeah,
willing to do it.
It's the dream. We'll see how the Braves season continues to go, but it is in a spot right now where I think it is worth talking about. And for what it's worth, even though John Heyman said that he didn't think it was going to happen, our good pal Michael Cerami says that he thinks that it's still worth talking about and it could happen. So we're 1-for-1 on like people who actually have sources on
Good thing they held off on Weathers. He's on the 60-day IL as of tonight. Cubs lose 4-3 in extra innings. We are back here right here on the CHGO Cubs YouTube channel tomorrow night after the game. We'll see you then. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you have not already. Cubs lose a hard one tonight. They'll get Colin Ray on the mound tomorrow. We'll see you after the game. Thanks for watching, and fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.